Well, it's a rather interesting story. My last venture was a technology company that developed auction engines for dynamic pricing. And we happened to get a call from one of the leading textile companies saying that they have a need for an auction platform. After a couple of meetings, we realized how large the problem of surplus in the business is. We started digging more, and what we came up with was that the textile industry is worth $126 billion a year, out of which $11 billion we estimate to be the size of surplus, which includes excess inventory, stock lots, canceled orders, downgrades, all put together. And these, by nature, are the sort of products that it's hard to discover new customers. It's hard to find what is the true market price. So price discovery is a big challenge. And it is really typically a problematic and a troublesome area that most companies, medium and large, would really rather not deal with. So when we started talking about this idea to a bunch of textile manufacturers across fabrics, home textiles, apparels, we got a fantastic response where the key management, the owner managers felt this is a solution they needed urgently here and now. They wanted clarity in price discovery, they wanted transparency in the transaction, and they wanted access to new customers and buyers. So that's how we started building XSTOK, and here we are. Typically, it depends on category to category. Fabric surpluses, especially the ones that come from the export lines, could go for as little as 40% of the original sell price. In case of domestic production, it's a little bit higher. It could be 55 to 60% of the value. And also it depends on whether it is season -1, season -2, meaning how old the inventories are, and is it something that will sell currently trending in the market. But that's pretty much the range, and it could be lower, but definitely not higher. In case of home textiles, again, it is within the range of about 35 to 45%. In case of apparels, it could be, as little as 30% or 25% of the value. So it depends on that. In our experience, we started out with fabrics, more specifically denim, to begin with, and in the immediate few months, we saw that the existing customers were also coming in and paying as much as 25 to 30% more than their last 3 years' averages. So the sort of consistent benefit that we've been able to bring in would be more around the 20 to 25% for that product category. A lot of the benefit comes in to the seller from introducing and discovering new buyers, especially the ones that are further away from the epicenter. And what I mean by that are the key markets, the key metro and textile markets. So tier 3, tier 4 cities, we have customers from Hisar, Bathinda, deep places in Andhra, in Bellary in Karnataka, and we find a lot of interest from these buyers who had no access to these products, that too directly from reputed mills whose products we sell. So that's typically been the benefit. In case of apparels, our realization benefits have been greater. For multiple reasons, we're able to break down the minimum order quantity to much lower. So if a supplier, a seller is comfortable doing smaller quantities, and have a longer holding period, we're able to get a much better price realization. We're an internet company, and we need to keep reminding ourselves that every morning that we wake up, that we're not a textile company, we're not a distribution company, a textile distributor. We are an internet company. So everything that we do is measured and solutioned based on technology. So obviously the first choice for us, and the most important one, is the digital platform. We are very heavily invested in search engine optimization, in search engine marketing, in social media, also direct mails and direct campaigns and advertising online, for the simple reason that these are the early adapters. These are the people who understand the medium of the internet, and they are the ones who are looking. They come looking, and we find the interaction and value of those customers far more meaningful if they come looking for certain products or they come looking for us. Our second one really is working very deep within our own member bases, and we have over 20,000 and growing companies that are members or that we interact with, and we really understand who they are, what their business they're in, who do they buy from, who do they sell from. We have conversations with them, we meet them, and those interactions lead to a lot of intelligence, and we use that as a method of direct communication, which results in some marketing and promotion. And the last one is really very targeted and feet on the street. So depending on the product category that we are focused on, and as part of our monthly or quarterly plans, we'll identify the key markets that we should be in. The identification of key market is not typically based on the size of the market, but is based on the hunger and the need for the market, and that's how we develop and reach out to those markets. And we then engage with them locally. We have teams on the ground. Today we're present in 6 cities, and our teams cover nearby areas out of those 6 cities. And these are, this team we call the X-Men because of XSTOK. So our X-Men are really nothing less than the superhero X-Men. They're out there meeting customers and penetrating deep into the market. And then we also have our sales teams, and we do events in local areas, or we partner with associations. This past weekend we were at an event in Chembur organized by a Kutchi community, and it was a large event, and we happened to be there, and it was a great response because people find us more approachable, and they're more comfortable with us if they see us within the bounds of their community. So we do a bit of community communication and engagement as well. So we're in Bombay, of course. We have teams. We have teams on the ground in Ahmedabad, in Delhi, in Calcutta, in Bangalore, and in Chennai. Well, very interesting question, because those are really the large manufacturing hubs, and we have a new program called the VCP, standing for Vendor Side Channel Partner, and we're currently in the process of onboarding more channel partners in the key manufacturing hubs of Tirupur, Coimbatore, Erode, Salem, Panipat, Sholapur, Ludhiana, Ahmedabad. In all these areas, and the role of these channel partners is to bring on board more sellers on XSTOK, the companies they have existing relationships with, and also to be able to manage the funnel and the inventory of those suppliers. And the reason we've chosen the route of going with channel partners is because it is, being a startup, we have limitations on how many people we can hire, how soon, and is it something we want to do ourselves or we want to outsource it. And we think our growth will come through our partners. So that's a new addition that we've been focused on, is to build a whole partner strategy over the next few months. Data shows that 94% of businesses in our trade do not have formal bank financing, which means they're entirely dependent on either trade credit offered by large manufacturers, who de facto end up being the distributors of credit on behalf of large banks, and secondly by community funding. There are some communities, I understand, who have as much as 20,000 crores in community funding doing the rounds in just a few markets. So that's the sort of money that's available in the market today. But given all of that, the way India is changing, the way the world is changing, and demonetization and the impacts of that we've had, businesses are now encouraged to bring their business above board. So the biggest deterrent for the organized sector in distribution of bank credit has been really the lack of transaction history and the ability to show the borrowers ability to pay back. Now, with demonetization and the changes around us, we see that this is having a very positive impact, and we'll have a huge shift in India in general, in all trades across the board, where we will see a lot of movement happening and the roles of the traditional dealer distributors changing. The dealer distributors have traditionally also been financiers in the market. XSTOK has taken the first few steps to be a part or be a catalyst to that change. We have a service we call Express Finance, and we have tied up with a few third-party lenders whose core focus is addressing the MSME segment, and they have in turn have their own funds set out for this purpose. The government has also made the whole NBFC and lending laws easier in some sense. And these companies can turn around a credit application within 48 to 72 hours in case of XSTOK. So XSTOK is a single window for any of our members who would like bank credit, who would like credit or trade finance. And we then facilitate it with the third party within 48 to 72 hours. It requires minimal paperwork. It requires no mortgage or hypothecation. The amount can go as much as 1 crore. Typically what we've been seeing though is that these are still early days, so lenders are more comfortable with a lower bracket of 2 to 20 lakhs is what they seem to be more comfortable with. But our partnership aims to take it up to 1 crore. And the repayment terms are really simple, straightforward, where it's a 45 to a 90-day credit that's given to the borrower, who then pays the third party, who already pays in advance, XSTOK, who then pays the seller in advance. So it's an intricate web, but it works very well. So our focus has really been on quality manufacturers. So that's who we tie up with. We also are beginning to tie up with holders of inventory in the market, who are essentially the traders and the distributors who themselves have large inventories in the market. And at the same time, we're also looking at our buyers, who are segmented within three key areas. Wholesalers, dealers, distributors, agents, and traders is one segment. These are people essentially who are in the key markets of Kalba Devi, Chikpet, Chandni Chowk, Bada Bazaar, etc., or even in the smaller markets and smaller mandis. And the second group is cutters and manufacturers, especially for fabrics, that denim and shirting fabrics, suiting fabrics in general. We look at cutters and manufacturers. More penetration for us has been in the case of denim so far. And the third group is retailers, and they were typically targeting and work with the mid to smaller retailers who are regional players, and they are obviously our targets for home textiles and apparels, which are our two finished product categories. So we have over 1,000 sellers on XSTOK. A smaller percentage of them actually are active and listed on the platform. We're waiting to develop and expand our own bandwidth to be able to manage and address all those suppliers. On the buy side, we have a growing tribe of now over 15,000 members on XSTOK. And in addition to that, we have a reach to 50,000 more customers through various activities that we run. For a seller, we really are looking for sellers who have high level of commitment to quality, to developing the internet channels, and most importantly to XSTOK. So therefore, we ask our sellers to choose between two packages that are available, the premium and the elite. Both have different levels of services available to them. And in addition, that's an annual listing fee for us to be able to manage their inventory, publish it online, market it, etc. So it's only a fraction of the cost that we take from them for that, but largely to bring in their serious interest on the platform. The second fee is a transaction fee, which could vary between different categories, size of supplier, etc.